Welcome to Outlaw Woodworking. You know, building a stone staircase with all natural stone is a real challenge. And I've been collecting these big boulders that you see here for quite a while. I've kind of got them stashed around my property, knowing that I was going to try to do this. And the hardest part that I found with this little project has been the dimensions of the boulders because I'm trying to build a staircase up to these two little doors up here, or one. You can see that glass door up there. I'm trying to build a staircase up to there. Now, even though I'm going to build up this front area quite a bit, it's still about a 4 foot difference between where I'm starting these steps and the height of those doors up there. Now, I've got these stone steps that I kind of, you know, from doing excavation on multiple properties that I have, when I come across one that looks like the dimension of a step, like 6 or 8 inches or something in thickness, which really they're only supposed to be 6 and 12, I believe. But I'll collect those and then I'll stash them aside, and then when it came time to doing this little project right here, I started using them. But as with anything that's natural, it's never going to be the perfect thickness or the perfect, level all the way across. So even though I start out really level with the lowest block, and then I've got, my side blocks that I think look pretty cool, the big boulders on each side of the steps. The steps themselves they just weren't turning out the way I want. Now the boulders going around kind of creating a little patio effect up on this top area, they seem to be working pretty good as far as, being able to retain dirt and also create kind of a landscaping type situation. But I just couldn't get it. And right here, I'm using DG road base, and it compacts really nice when you get it wet. And that's basically what I'm using for it. Now, one thing I realized was, so I started to build this whole thing out of stones that I collected. But like I said, right away, I realized that I really just wasn't being successful with these big stones. They're really, here you can see a big one that I'm getting ready to put up there. But they're just really hard to deal with. They're just not even enough. And I kind of, one of my friends, John, he uses, whenever he's doing stairs, he gets this natural stone that's they're basically between 6 and 7 inches thickness, and they're pretty consistent as far as the way they cut them, and they still have that really natural look. So what I decided was, after I had created quite a bit of work on this entry, I ended up tearing all the steps out, and then I ended up going and getting some real steps, or some real more consistent. They're still natural stone steps, but they're right there. You can kind of see. Here's one of the big ones that I'm going to be putting up on top, and it just was really it looks cool, but it's just not consistent enough. When you go walk up it, it's you got one that's 6 and one that's 10 and one that's it's just I think they look cool, but it just didn't seem to be working out. Anyway, so what I did was I called John, asked him where he got his stone steps, and then I went and looked at them, and I ended up ordering new steps to create. And basically, all this work that you see right here, I tore all those steps out and started over. And let me show you what I did. So right here you can see, here's a side view of it, and you can see I've tore out all those steps and even part of the wall that I built before. And basically the steps that I got, like I said, they're about 7 inches thick, 48 inches wide, and they're about 18 inches deep, which is pretty nice little step. Now, basically what I've done is I start out, I level these up to the top and slope them out a little bit so that when water gets on them, it'll slope towards the front a little bit, and basically stack these steps right up this staircase. And then what I did was I repositioned. Here you can see I'm grabbing one. Now my toolcat can really only handle, surprisingly, only one of these steps at a time. These steps are pretty heavy. I ended up buying 8 of these steps, and basically, I hauled them all in my dump trailer, which was no problem, but I could not get them out of my dump trailer with the toolcat. I had to get them out one at a time. But I liked, my house, this little house that I'm building, it's black and gray, and these little stones are actually kind of a blue and a gray. So I was pretty happy with how they looked. And basically I just go up the side of this, right up the side of these other 2 right side boulders, and once I get up to a certain height, then I put this other boulder back in. Now I'm using the Bobcat E60 excavator, and it has a long arm on it, and I must say it makes easy work out of these boulders. I could, without the toolcat and this excavator, I couldn't do a project like this. It'd just be too much work. The excavator allows me to lift stuff that I could never lift otherwise. And here you can see me putting in the big stone back. I thought these two stones were kind of unique. I ended up flipping this one over, and it kind of angles out the other way now, but I kind of like the way it turned out. I'll give you a final picture of everything when I get up to the top of the last step. We'll do a little walkthrough, and I'll show you everything that I've done. But right here you can see I'm trying to level. It's almost impossible, but I'm trying to have like a kind of a nice flat spot on the front of this boulder, and kind of lift it up. Right here I mean, look at this. Just moving these things around, you have to spend a lot of time. If you want it to look good, you kind of have to take your time and, put the throttle on low and just kind of piece these things around. And you can see I ended up angling that one out that way because the right side of this boulder is a little flatter than the left side, so it fit up against the steps a little better if I flipped it over like this. And I think, let me know what you think, but I thought it came out a little better like that. And just getting it to, just getting yourself positioned right to where, it's fitting in there. It can be challenging. You can see right there, I got to get in all kinds of positions to get that thing right where I want. And then, in order to level, I mean, you can't even level them. There's no level spot on these rocks, but to get it up to a nice position, then you got to kind of prop it up with your excavator and then fill under. And there you can see it right there. It kind of looks good right there, I think. And here I'm putting the top one on. And basically I just have to keep moving up this staircase. Right now I've got 4 of them in, and I've got 4 more to put in to get up to that front door. What I'm gonna end up doing is, right here I go up to, I've got 4 in right now, and I'm basically gonna grab 1 more to go on top of this section of the stair, and then the last 3 will be up by the door, and that'll leave me a flat spot to level off for a little patio area that I'll eventually do either some stone pavers or something up there so that I could sit a couple chairs up there and enjoy the view from that little spot. But right here, I'm putting in the 5th stone up there. And then basically I got to reach all the way into the door, which I figured out that I could reach the first 2 up there, but the last one I'm going to have to actually maneuver into the spot by hand, which is not easy. But I'm going to try to set it up on the last position and then basically slide it across the last rock up to the door. And hopefully that'll work out. Anyway, yeah, this video is already pretty long, but let's get up to the front door and then I'll give you a walkthrough of how it turned out. And right here you can see I'm putting the final step in. Now this last step, if you look at the left side of it, it's got a big chunk out of it. And I believe I'm going to have to return that one. And see if I can get another one. But I went ahead and installed it, and then we put some rock around each side, some cobbles around each side, just to kind of give it a little good look to it, just to see what it's going to look like. And here's what it looks like. And keep in mind that I'm going to replace that top one. Definitely a work in progress. Working with natural stones and stacking rocks, it can be a real challenge. This is going to be a work in progress for a while, but I thought I'd give a kind of a interesting take on, this type of stones. And although I think it's going to look good when it's all done and you got some plants around it and stuff, it's definitely a work in progress. Anyway, thank you very much for watching. Please subscribe, like the video, and I'll see you next time. Later.